Okay, Eddie. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, good afternoon to you all. On behalf of the leadership of Fixing the Country movement, we will officially welcome everybody, all and sundry, to this important encounter this afternoon. But before we move on, let me, on behalf of the movement, render an unqualified apology for the delay, but it was for a good reason. Without much ado, we will start with an opening prayer. And I'll call on Mr. James Labby to usher this encounter into the hands of God. Amen. Thank you very much, Mr. Labby. Brothers and sisters from the media, indeed, we are very grateful for honoring our invitation. Permit me to give or introduce the leadership of Fixing the Country movement, who are with us this afternoon. And starting from my extreme right, we have Madam Thelma Labby, who is the secretary to the Fixing the Country movement. And then she's, yes, please identify yourself, Thelma.
Hello.
Okay. Beside Thelma is Ohima Gifty Obiya Asare, a leading member of the movement.
Hello.
We also have James Labby, who gave us the opening prayer, another leading member of the movement. Your humble servant who is speaking to you right now is also Kwaku Jesse, a leading member and operations officer for the movement. Ken Kwaku Jesse. Ken Kwaku Jesse. Very necessary. All right. Now, we also have no other person but the communication officer for Fixing the Country movement, and that is our very own lady, Queen Jennifer Queen. The man of the movement, the one that you are all waiting for, to address pertinent issues following the, I will term it, conversation and the empty talks from our former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And we have our convener himself, who is no other person but Mr. Ernest Owusu Bempah, the political strategist and the convener for Fixing the Country movement. Now, without much ado, please, let's all welcome the convener, Ernest Owusu Bempah, to give us a statement that seeks to address critical issues following the message that was given by Mr. John Dramani Mahama concerning the crossroad where Ghana finds itself now. Ghana at a crossroad. Let's welcome Mr. Ernest Owusu Bempah. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwaku Jesse. Thank you, colleagues and members. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media. We are compelled to assemble here today, once again, to do justice to some pertinent issues with regard to the former President John Dramani Mahama's so-called Ghana at a Crossroad lectures held at Kempinski Hotel on Monday, the 2nd of May, 2022. The Kempinski event, which seeks to draw light on the supposed crossroad that the country is currently actually exposed, that the country is currently nakedness. Indeed, Mr. Mahama succeeded in dancing naked, naked in intelligent Ghanaian public by the swipe he took at His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government on what he termed as politicization of independent state institution and dismissal of those who dare to ensure what is right. Even the attacks on President Akufo-Addo's economic policy was such a surreal mix of myth and fantasy. Mr. Mahama practically gaslighted himself and sounded terribly in touch with his self-serving inner self. He just plucked another dead cat in front of a public to get outrage about. Hear him, hear the former president. And I quote, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his head of economic management team rather appallingly remain nonchalant in the face of this serious crisis and have limited their response to imposition of very harsh regressive administration in the history of Ghana politics to Akufo-Addo's one. We are not really surprised by Mahama's callous attempt to try and take positive credit out of a current, and I quote, current global economic crisis and put post-pandemic economic vulnerabilities and attempt to present himself as a credible alternative indeed. He is obviously looking for an endorsement within the NDC as a result of a looming tsunami of leadership struggle within the NDC, and he wants to make himself relevant. However, for John Dramani Mahama to hold a public lecture to boast about his governance prowess, when we all know that he dished out 4 years as a president, says a lot about his split personality. The simple truth is that Mahama has just exposed himself to public ridicule. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we are all in this country and witness the presidency of John Dramani Mahama. I hope we are not all strangers. We all saw what happened under his watch. We all saw highs and lows of the accidental president and his lack of obvious know-how as a leader. When Mahama was confronted with challenges in his government at the height of his administration, he infamously compared himself to a dead goat, saying, and I quote, "I have seen more demonstrations and strikes in my first 2 years, and I don't think it will get worse. It is said that when you kill a goat and you frighten it with a knife, it doesn't fear the knife because it is dead already, and I have a dead goat syndrome," unquote. And I hope most journalists remember this. Wars era, Ghana with a large and rising middle class estimated at over 47% of the population at that time, was yearning to transit to full middle income status. Due to the effort of Kufuor's regime, the country has shown progress in reducing poverty and it's outshrunk its peers on most measures of human development. But Mahama's incompetence leadership denied Ghana the much needed respite for economic emancipation. Even former President Jerry John Rawlings, may his soul rest in peace, the man who founded the National Democratic Congress, and that the man who gave Mahama his first government job as a deputy minister and later full minister, publicly expressed a lack of faith in Mahama's ability to steer the ship of the state at that time. So, Ghana, and I ask this question in a rhetorical way, is Ghana really at a crossroads? Ghana under Mahama face multiple problems of rising cost of living, and I hope most Ghanaians are aware, and I don't want to elaborate more. Collapsing businesses, an unsustainable national debt, a lack of inclusive economic growth to address unemployment, poor infrastructure, and rising fiscal and balance payment deficit. The fundamental truth here is that the former president, John Dramani Mahama, is not an alternative to solve Ghana's problems. The man doesn't even have a single solution to the country's problem. Mahama is just a desperate leader who wants to rule the country again, hence his penchant of making false claims of having all answers to the country's problems. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, it is a trite knowledge that Mr. Mahama lost 2016 election due to his mismanagement of the country's economy, which resulted in worsening plight of the ordinary Ghanaian people. It is also known as a fact that Mr. Mahama has nothing to offer except to draw back the country's progress if Ghanaians mistakenly give him power again. That is, if the NDC elect him as their flag bearer. Isn't it intriguing that whereas Mr. Mahama is claiming to have solution to the country's unemployment situation, it was during his tenure as the leader of this country that the country witnessed the formation of the Unemployed Graduate Association. And I'm sure most of the journalists are aware. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, John Dramani Mahama loutish behavior and name calling has actually given true meaning of the adage, and I quote, "If you want to dismiss a fool, promote him," unquote. We are talking about a man who claimed to have the interests of the poor at heart, and yet he never introduced any pro-poor policy intervention during his administration as the president of the Republic of Ghana. And we are daring the NDC and Mahama and his colleagues to come out and tell us one pro-poor policy that they were able to introduce. On top of my head, I can mention about 3 from the MPP. Interestingly, Mahama and his opposition NDC has been fighting all social intervention policies introduced under the various MPP administrations, including the Free SHS, the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, LEAP, and the National Health Insurance, and of course, the National ID that became a fiasco under Mills Mahama's administration. And you are all aware, today Ghanaians can boast of a national identity. The noise and the so-called alternative solution that Mahama claims to have are a ruse just to scheme to get power in order to come back to continue his mismanagement and the usual plutocracy under Mahama. The problem with Mahama and his disillusionist enablers who are on this path is that they are under a false impression that Ghanaians has weak memories. He told Ghanaians that Ghanaians have short memories. Other than that, he wouldn't have that shenanigans to come and tell Ghanaians that he has the magic wand to deal with. Under Mahama, Ghana experienced the worst crisis in the history of Ghana. When there were no war, no pandemic, Ghana was low, at the lowest point of economic management. Indeed, the doomsday crisis actually crippled Ghanaian economy for 4 years. Businessmen have to move their money out of this country. Hopelessness was the order of the day under his watch, and there was not a single mitigating measures to deal with the individual crisis. People were dying in hospitals. Doctors were confused when it comes to the height of even doing a common operation for patients. Their politics from the 17th century, and who think without them the country cannot survive. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, and this one goes to His Excellency the former President Mahama. If he's listening, I know he's listening. He should take a cue from the like of Shakespeare observed in King Lear, and I know he's a communicator, and I quote him: "The unprecedented thief is the one who sees political power as a substitute for welfare." And I quote Mr. Mahama. Shakespeare is telling us that in King Lear, that unprecedented thief is the one who seeks political power as a substitute for welfare. Let Mr. Mahama take heed of this Shakespearean advice and comport himself in the public discourse or in the public space. Because sometimes when he speaks, he ridicules himself with his own Confucianist utterances, disillusioned policies, and sometimes we sit down and we are like, is it Ghana of yesterday or Ghana of today that he's talking about? In any case, should Ghana find itself at a crossroad, we are not sure Ghanaians will ever need the directionless Mahama to show us the way. Let's not forget, his leadership was the worst since independence. We know better as Ghanaians. And thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Long live Ghana. Long live Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Long live fixing the country. Long live the MPP government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Owusu-Bempah. In fact, yes, so very soon you will summarize everything in chief. Yes, and I didn't want to take the wind out of the sail by giving my expectation of this, statement. But clearly, Mr. Mahama has been exposed, and we cannot link the reality to that of what he said. Ghana is indeed not at any crossroad. In fact, the only crossroad, and we're making it true, the fact that Yenim and Yenjinindi say can be the best alternative for Ghana. And I said NDC can form a better government to that of what we're experiencing now. And that is the crossroads we are. Apart from that, everything is on its track. And Ghana surely will deliver. All right. Yes, please.
Thank you.
I'm saying you be a version of the you can't no one sem na. I'm saying you anum central for so a mo potono watimi atase ne sabe sepani kunyina haban na yatase ne so banyansafo. I'm say minu anum central for I'm say hia ya enye bone bia na anu yada na yenka bi nhyiemu yete se ye mampani dada wabegu oman pen a efre no His Excellency John Dramani Mahama eko friends central for nhyiemu na ne kasaye mu de tu dwa kire Ghana fo nyina se Ghana sabi yegina nkwantanan ama sabi Ghana yentro no yentwa so no se yanhwe yi a Ghana betete apansam se ko ntibi na ono na mamuo pompon so a ode Ghana duru ye no kamia esey oman no sikasam enhyehyeye ema bibia sei dwerebo ye nyina yenim de esi ye e wo man nim na eno na ye ka a kire se o pe bibia ka kire Ghana fo a enye nwanwa because they say there is a tsunami coming within the NDC a kire say there's going to be a leadership struggle and he want to make himself relevant by coming out to throw his tantrums. Say the Ghana for who say he's an alternative or a leader in waiting. But then some of the kind why say or he be a wapia bontin or kwa wapa ne ho ntoma no bia hu so wapa ne ho ntoma no ka che Ghana for say or he we worship of front ntoma wadwena san efe ne nsem o kan nyina yehurudu hwi atasema bibia ni wa eye papa wo o kan san bebre efa Ghana yesikasam enhyehyeye ho se oman no esikasam enkoyi ba ye oman mu ema omanpani babel rane Ghana economy ti se casino economy to the extent that people go to banks to go and withdraw money. They couldn't get money to withdraw. The way of managing here to set the extent say common cholera 2015 a kumaman for nipa 250 in this country. What you managing? So you can imagine say Mahama ne teso and anka dum so ekoso and a war in Ukraine ekoso and your friend is saying pandemic ikoso and now the soon na chese Kagana mobechi mo marry under his watch. What can it be? Say or no dear. Ultimate winning and money home. As a leader, he cannot think for himself. And I quote in his book, My First Coup d'etat. He said it clearly. Said danger lurks around any life decision that he has taken. And it was glaringly clear. A show ye, a diwood or say or no. Susuku will be obe susubian, winter no ye nedi a chili. And it was clear. Obey a leader no. A show ye clear say he didn't have any one solution for doing so. Ghana was left in their own destiny. Economy no go down on its knees because of doing so. Among for we there was no pandemic, self-inflicted. NDC under Mahama, they tout themselves as a social democratic party. Meboa Mumusa or Muse one social intervention policy being and Mahama under his watch ultimately introduce Ghana. Yet you come out when you go and read the preamble of the NDC party constitution, or say they will harness the destiny of this country with the resources that bequeath us. Na Ghana ni akola na oto otwen beri atem. Ne mama ntimi fa ne ko school a just ye ton toma. Ansan wotimi akọ school no. Na akola de timi akọ school a o say Ghana is at a crossroad. Over 400,000 kids every year to go school in this country. Not how many African countries and even in the world and let me achieve this feat. And you tell us this country is at a crossroad. When doom so crisis out the by and then more journalists be more media houses cabana generator more stress to. Ghana has been rescued from doom so crisis. And you are telling us, say, O Mampeni Dada Mama or Wakukudro Papa, O Mampeni Rollins, can't be said. Magana for a GD Baku say somebody who gave him his first job, somebody who brought him into political limelight. Catcher say His Excellency Jerry John Rollins, may he so rest in peace. Or say GD Baku, and say John Mahama, because he has nothing to offer the people of Ghana. Akwebe ne council, who am I? Na ye no. And some of my colleagues will be able answer. Just I said. Na ye de a kadu sambi Jan Quine said on one Kasanko ready Shakespeare on the on also a communicator. Kele Asemo can and I don't want to repeat it in peace, so unpalatable, and I don't want to repeat, but it befits his actions and behavior or the nam krung in semo or kekan. Or say the unrepentant thief is the one who sees political power as a substitute for failure. Muamuti pi no munchechi and Chairman Penida da Mahama. Say Ghana and Nayo. He cannot insult the intelligence of the ordinary Ghanaian people. On to me, and fire dwelling and your crow the John. Yes, we agree, said Ghana. There are hardships. Yes, we agree. Say, Omano, I want you to home. Now we live in a country whereby about 60% of iron rods you import to free Ukraine ever. Flour, you did your pan, brodo, you free Ukraine. Crude. Edi egu ye petrol mu maka nyinam timi ko kan ba no e free Russia e bebre free onum na se entokwa ni winter sis aman wintem a se bi aso ni aso ko a enye grass ne be sofa. You don't need a rocket scientist to tell you this. And the former president want to masquerade on this global crisis to make himself relevant. Really? Like seriously? And Ghana for ASM sebe and for asudie kese edam so say adano no de si Ghana ha mon sentwefo bi ekobusa president Mahama say yempa dwumama no so onye magician. Desperate Ghanaian youth, millions of you out there You went out there to ask him, Mr. President, we don't have jobs. At least MPP required me the NAPQUABA. It's a roadmap of taking students out of to start up something for the next. Or no, to be the socialist political party. Ye kasi ye bubwa, ye beka madiachi. Yasema ye kani say. Ye pobi amwenya kukudro abeka bibi or the alternative leadership. Ebre Ghana is certainly not John Dramani Mahama. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, convener. Actually, me did yes will be a message, that I'm saying. Statement in very clear. Now, you're fixing the country movement. As some I can say, Sebi, you say quattro cassoba mount to my day. Tienidin. Na Oman Penini, Dada, John Dramani Mahama, catch a Ghana for say, Sisiano. Manusu sumena so manoko kotua se Ghana for your boy hu musuo edi tumi mana oba obetwa E-levy mu sebi anya adwo sebi okronto ye ka se utapota ho a na ye den wo hwere wo dabre ye nyina ye wo mamu ase ende enim se ye wura mampanyin Mahama in 2015 catch a Ghana for say se pa kwan papa ye pensuo ye penyam kanea ama na gina so ye penwuma ama mabunu ye pe school papa ama ye ma, then Ghanaians should be ready to pay more taxes. Enunti o hye na mamumu a or the taxes etwitwi die ebro be 15 in number and the buyer. Now for just want of time ye be bo bi so aye dan a kire mu sebi ye so bo so ba o we na me dan na meja epai Yewura Mahama na memuo or the 17.5 real estate levy ebaye or the 17.5 hospital imported medicines levy ebaye epacho mientie ni yo we nya 1.5 17.5% and or the buyer or the 1% special import levy ebaye or the 17.5 financial service levy. Kaneno, what time we see our bread? Nadia to bank no. Bank ne say under this levy. Sikande da home pono, bosume swa ye betu 17. Unya transaction, unya adwuma. Ahokyere edokro man ma say obi di sika koto bank a bank no ete 17.5. Ne penso or the 17.5% airline ticket levy ebaye for domestic airlines. Open in temakwa ye adwuma etwa ho to no. Ye si plane na wo fa no mpo no ye den twa ho tax. Nene sa o man panyini dada Yewura John Dramani Mahama catch say oba obetwa tax mu aye E-levy me de me say Ghana for mo miensi no ho efiso nim de oka onya kura ena odedan kotokro ahyemu ebiem or the 17.5 public lighting levy ebaye say the electricity pole abesi ufie ni mumpo a lighting so no yesi tia ho den ho to 17.5 ebiem or the 17.5 traders levy esa de kayaye levy eba ye ma ye nuanom a omye kayaye ne ye dwo moto ekoya ma aboso kanfo omo spare parts ye the 5% levy ye den eto so na ni nyina achi no it took a certain government, a certain leadership, a certain regime and otie oman any timamufo ne adwumayefo sun and as ban ne baye no obe review all these taxes and oyi free ho aban ne aban ben aban ne na do danko akufado MPP amanyoko aban ono no si a oye den oyo na se aban biaba No, it's not about the Yisatro when in his first term of office. In 2017, 2018, official statement, any budget are you reading under this government, it taking all these taxes away. Now, 6 years down the line, I buy a over 200, your friend said 2 million students, and are benefited from free SHS. Yeah, quine, teacher foka, and Mabrunya demand and NAPCO, farmers for any subsidies. Yes, school. Agenda 111, hospitals. One village, one dam. What is the name? One district, one factory. Sir, no more way nara. Now, I say, Sabi Quancha, dear fair, naturally, it's a can of head and share. A discount talk. And until yen some, yan independent nam. A yase aqua huchemu. A band biara air shasso benyatwo, a diacher no mind. And Tienchia 1.5 levy. Not because of politics in T. Yura Mahama say, Oba Ubichem. And then fixing the country movement. Ya no more a dinkitahon, ama atogana phone and him say, Sasama Yura Mampeni Mahama Akano, Obwa. On to me yet. Because on ye be that. And it's near Sequatricos of a mount to my day. Tienidin, Yadamase. Yeah, battery and sir, we will call upon our communication officer for the movement, Madam Honorable Jennifer Quinn, for to also honorable on him.
Ever mamo aquaba. I'm saying, Mimano, I can't hear. I was see it now. The fixing the country movement. Ye ma from central for keke. See any movie didn't come. Now, assembly or say, yeah, man, you say me, dear, assembly or what? And now, Cassa Subi free. Penny be hoba, now see a bunny be yan on a gun of 4 etias, and until a year no more d a she more. It's the link I better must say the million on the kind. Now, you may be some semba whom you mean, Sabi. Ama your former president, John Dramani Mahama. Or say Ghana is at a crossroad. Go be a brofong. Okay, there's some person or Tia say, Tia me say Sabak, no, they Ghana jam Pantana. You won't see a fabum one and fanny fan. Baby, I drew or Ghana, New Year CCA. Nebreso, a bean see Ghana da. Oh, ya mamua, ne ya manu sama ye say. A certain vice president. And ye may be fun and sassy, and then I say, I'm a set committee. Say you should me, your man penny that I mail so when young baby go. A rade and fun a crane see. Now, you see you should move because you see a cotor and bribe Yabagan and a hanger cacahoons and simply be a betchumco. That time he was the certain president. For fear and twata, and I'm on penny mills, a young baby corner will take you over. Right from time will take you over. Free 2013 bar bepim 2015 2016 ye nyina ye ni mahunye hia ye komu Ghana ha sabi edi nkomo ni pa kasa no MC a couple of kasa say when you become too expectant or something you get disappointed it at this moment me nim se mampani dada why you disappointed se amamu no obebu ne bone odia na hokoye na aban bia ba be fa gina ba bi na onte ne ho ase ti aduru ba bi se wo so no ankasa convince ne ho no convincing a man you call NDC because they say no pressure than so. There was so bad nobody come man a man you call no etinase. Nan ka ya aban a person san so eba so bie mu a. Baby aduru wi ase say any akase ye boy ye ho so. Ni aso ye ho asene. Se de ye wo no ye nye ne kakra. Ni amfa nko ye ne kopim se wi ase be sa gina ne na so bie mu. Wo se there be alternative no enye only empty but are dangerous as well. Why are we saying that? Yenti aye kasa ne say o si oba obetwa E-levy and then on aba be kasa na ka oni NDC fo no mpanimfo ni bidi nkoma see when we get to the bridge we will know how to cross ntimi nka enti ono as a communication expert aba kasa so mba omo betwam sa na o ka yate and ya Ghana fo manato ne say amamuo we aban we amamuo de am omo no mani ade ho pa de o yensi ye bon kan kire obi ase ya 200%, ya 300%, but ye can say baby e de Ghana akoduru say the baby ya ye kono Ghana for any jehon. It is a person samba in his dreams. And simple away this way a day. Okay, because on no osre. Kofi kan bro for art Shakespeare na kambwa. No me kan twi o enye. Me ka twi na akere mo. Abai bi abako, wo bebi sound so betwa E-levy. Time I did talk tax by say na 3%. Omo bo man fan cost 15%, right? Omo dey 15%. Wo bebi sound say na omo man yen from ka so omo be here from dey 15%. Yet the Chrome ha mo no abaye press conference o say so na e be ka kire ye say the banks in Ketwa no air kono. What more liquidity support from Bank of Ghana. But send your more kono, baby, I could do now, bedroom baby in no time. Banks in bet me a goo. Ni tira ye no free, so a baby boss me yen in a year, the macabre woman, but yes, Yamana could do baby. He had a problem with it, including his political party. A baby a banner bressono, Ghana del sumum fiemi and some. You're complaining, your catches here to me, a do baby crampo, Brigadier Nunu. Na buy breast or man position. O ka chesi ntimi etu kotobo. That is abaya yenya pen. Na ya na me de me hawo ne me nkomo a me di ne bebre ya me maame no mo dwa so single parent. E ma ati aware ase o mo ankasa na hwe o mo aware ye ho. E hwe o mo ma. Aban bi aba wo so obeye progressive free SHS. That time progressive education one ka free SHS because you didn't know anything about free SHS. Progressive no so be no see day school 33 out of number mo cast of base abai we buy no hu say ye magana ni akola bi opportunity e ma ni ko school a em say what na de eti akola bi anya akwanya won ko school ne nkoye situation we buy akola atwa ne ma me ne papa di skent on timi ko school akola atwa wonya school ope na wakọ abai we buy ne ye ma na omu ti dwa so omu di dwa no ye ma omko kwan so hwe ye masse ye kantre John Dramani mama say wo mo de o man na adanko akufado ene the new patriotic party aban no omo yiko no mo da na asen so because omo fa baabi atwe omo ebre bi atwam ne ye we included NDC ma ene omo ma nyina omo benefit from free SHS because ebre bi atwam na omo ankasa hwe omo ho wo ba mi kro matwoma ye fa mi kro matwoma kwanma enya example yeni mo bia na watwa pa so na school kro nya opportunity no akobi under John Dramani mama time ya funny dum so a me uncle because of dum so a na wo hospitals ni ade na nka ne ni hompo ni aye said you krama we no some of us lost our relatives we are still living with the pain it is ya kase ye bedi nkoma ma Ghana fo atiase a Ghana fo se yan kan kire ne se E-levy na aba ne ye magi mfa ntwe no se ye na ban so mire bi omo ye bi no e ma Ghana kwa atwe no. If Ghana is at crossroad there, any ye calculate ni ye come back that time odi ye ko gina kwantanan ye hu ba bia ye mfa Ghana dru ba bia na e ko di chia na senke na ye ntimi nya ho hwe that time Ghana for were able to endure time I too fu ensem under John Dramani mama when Ghanaians were complaining he came back and tell us said he told us said say ye ntimi a ye pack cars aye tru ye ntra commercial car vehicle mu because any fe nipa bebre total insult on the ordinary Ghanaian. A baby about during his time and his era. And one him some rant animal bar. Not that time, no. Not unemployment rate grew almost 2.5 million. Ghana under his regime. He didn't even have the mindset. Not only IQ, no. See the bay money the woman in Sano. See the bay creating you macrama. And rant animal bar and ye. I didn't know. Yes, if you cannot beat them, just join them. And to do any minute, say, then fear your searches or tiase. That's all the Sabbath and NDC, Yama, watch what copy from NPP. Umria, who were Tikwapai, I was so 2 foot room. Says, now one on the born to Park and Subium, pen to a casap into a bottle, Rom to Toba, and Chuck Crofanum. They did the same thing in 2008 when Ghana was moving on when. Yama free maternal care, on Bamu and a day. Almost catch there, said. A friend is a health insurance on buy one-time premium. Me patrol central for Amwaha. Munyina can bear me witness. You started piloting from Ashanti region. A benefiting Ghana focus he say. A we are seeing no Jana Chais ka e good damn. Emma buying way by yeno. Baby ani etiko share no. O timi born ho so etua Chais ka free ho. Uko or alternative our now see and sound IMF. We should run to IMF. IMF America for the cow over 32 trillion. They are still moving on. Omo ko e grow omaka no e ko nanim wo se ye nko omo ho sa na ya e bon incompetency ti What the Ghana Tikosha IMF? Yentimi from Rantiana Mabel Duma. Yentimi creative you may because conditionalities in them wedding. One thing that NDC in Ghana for should know, they say, IMF no mu pushi as I am kono. Sikano kwa yentabri mu botomu fama mo. It is just $1 billion. You better to taxes no be abe duru sana swat abe million. It's no more a billion. Na ya chemu fie mi ansa se fa tua. Ni nyina mu ni sikano na Bank of Ghana wo hia emergency akofa bio. It is with them. E wa abrofo ne ho NDC fo abon ene abebu o mo ntiase. Sikano wo mo ho. It is wo hia. No what track was said, me pebia yankola ye, me pebia yankola suku ye, me pebia toniama come hospital. No brother not na kroma twem wa calculating, no head ye full wom, no catch us some the baba mosume watching on famaya. Now crofo owu. Is that the government and this ya buying person ye come. Eyen sem bisa ni ye bisom. So if General John Dramani Mama Baba catch ye say, Ghana is at crossroad. I think he is confused himself. His political party is confused. They don't know what they are doing. Omu who cry no the way I dey wrong. A drew baby say am here rhetoric. Yeah, kasa na aban ne sesa ye tire ye timi convince Ghana fo a. Omu ko to dia no kom so omu na rade ase. Because Ghana fo akwa drew baby say enya bro ka say Ghana fo so asie yare awrefe na nche na awrefe no. E na Ghana fo mu nim dia koso. Omu hu dia asi eti aban a obeba mu ato aso no. Omu hwe niam a waya dey. Waye. Eti Ghana fo ma adwadifo me ne mudi nkoma wiei aka kire mo say mamuntie ehuro the brother nsama Yera John Dramani Mama why are desperate to take over again to Okekano. They did the same thing in 2008. Young fat what haya new station ho hwe na say ya ho duru aso droboche baby terminal and operate it would ben science environs na who to kwan a wo mre accessibility to car ayefo ya de abrofo ne Ghana for contractors eyi ya kwan president ko for time ya wie ne de ko ya agri kwan e ma ne ya adwuma o kasa no ma si akire omu dia tura to that extent say ya tira nye na mampani ko for ne na ban free so a ya wie Ghana resources nyina akogu baabi the be chicha man people for the combat will be a Ghana 40 or masam to Obama, but it is unfortunate say BM because obi or benefiting from free SHSBI is grateful to Nana Dankwa. Napko yankase ya de buy no ya de ababa so ni pa nyina dem wa sustain yo. What you say? I sustain Ghana form rent anima ba. True sika no kakra no munya no. Ebi mu de abie barber shop, ebi mu de abie provision shop. When NDC was sitting somewhere condemning it, Ghanaian youth were, omu benefited from it. Now, I didn't see the E-levy about E-levy. You see any Ankasayan taxi on who in Centronia would take one pet taxi to ya. Brony crowd to one was watching children do by one pet taxi to ya. Yanni at your Bianoa, Naniji taxi to ya. Now, Yanko buy boom. The one who see cry, Yanko buy boom. Zacchaeus taxi to Yantin or Yadam fool. Yes, Christo Bay and Adam fool. So, when we are telling them today. So, Tiasia. Eti E-levy number, yes, you start. You have some ranch in my bar, sonny. I'm when you my yam, Mako Jabba, so, who by Duomo, no quiet bed in no mouth, our mouth for Subium. What's all the other son, Yamuga, and Mamma not saying, because you are Mampenny that, what the assemblyman paying, what the information minister paying, why a vice president, why a president, and Yama, why be why you do what we are paying. You are still not comfortable with it. Open setting children, Yan buying Papa, Magana for 1 year, Yomo, and free or nebra. Ghana former so omo ntwema oda Ghana former ba omo ankasa eye adwuma ebo omo asene ade bia ba fofora ne chechire no ebe ya yi kakra nanso afiri bosome kɔ no ya start first me ene ye 4 right ene eye na ne nansa so no Ghana for ti ase o wade to because aduru ba bi so se nyina ti ase se ye ni ankasa ne betinya hwe ye ho na ya sa hunu se sika na me tua ma aban so de be ya ma akwan no Sikali yade that is the most important thing that we should think about. Na yentien this if one woman sama, omu desperation for power and TBBI possible ma omu. Ghana Central for the Ghana 40 ye besre. NPP aban tribu nyade. Ya basa Ghana for hu beto. Enu tena omu kan say na say ye kan say ye be break 8 no, it is not a mere rhetoric. Mampenda that's one tene ho ase a. Onko no nsan mra biem. Na ne crossroad no kan de ono ankɔhwe album won kɔ na archives no hwe pictures amamuo bɔne amamuo kanka amamuo tantan obebu ma Ghana fo na ba bia ne Ghana bedu no obebu yabaso medamase.
That's it. Thank you very much. Jennifer Queen, communication officer for Fixing the Country movement. At this juncture, we will open the floor and allow for some few questions. one or two questions. Please, if you have anything to ask or say, just identify yourself by raising your hand, and then you shall be given the platform. Yes, my brother. Please introduce yourself to us well.
My name is Hamila Kelly. I work for Class FM.
Class FM, all right.
So, Honorable MS Usman spoke of the positive appraisal by the World Bank of how Ghana manage the COVID-19 pandemic, which I believe everyone is privy to. But then there are other rankings, particularly the recent one, which is the latest World Press Freedom ranking, which saw Ghana being ranked from 30th position down to 60th position. What's your view of that? Because President Mahama spoke about how the media is also being treated in this country. And lastly, I would like to know from your perspective, from all that you said, I would like to know from Fixing the Country movement's perspective, what nation building is all about. Thank you.
Well, I think that most of the media houses are going, and your question is just
More academic.
to talk about. First question was what was
The other rankings.
the other rankings. I think that we made it clear. I mean, as a journalist, are you being persecuted in Ghana? Are you being chased? It's just propaganda. I mean, a man who stood and then did what we call the criminal libel law, the man who fiercely fought for the institution of media freedom is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It will forever remain an indelible mark in the minds of every Ghanaian. It will never go away as the man who fought to restore one of the free speech democracy in this country. So I don't see why this should be an argument. It's just something that most of the question that I'm putting back to you is that most journalists, the fact that you ask a political figure a question and the person try to exonerate themselves in one way or the other, you see it as an attack on the media. Why? The media has a right, and the individual also has a right. I'm a professional journalist. You cannot go out there. The ethical standard of journalism is what we must highlight and let the whole world know that we have ethics. Today, some people sit on radio and talk as if the media has no boundaries in terms of where they end, their right ends, or where their freedom begins. And they just talk like that. And they call themselves journalists. Why is it that media of today have not been advocating for, if the doctor has a Ghana Medical Association, if somebody does something? I'm a professional journalist. I'm speaking with passion on this one. That a doctor has a Ghana Medical Association, when somebody is a quack doctor and it does something, they revoke their licenses or they take it away. Architects. Why is it that journalists cannot have a license where somebody could sit himself? The fact that you can speak in public doesn't make you a journalist. Today, a lot of people who that is what is happening to journalism in this country, and it's an attack on journalism. If we are not careful and we want to use journalism as something that we are just joking with, the same platform. The other day, I have passion for that because today I met one of the senior journalists who trained me as a journalist here, who used to be with TV3. And when I met them, the first question, my colleague would disagree with me, but when I met them, I asked them, hey, do you watch your station? The legacy that you left during the days of Raf Sase, when I was a young journalist, during the days of Francis Ameko, Gideon Ayikwe, and what's his name, Emma Morrison, Francis Osebwache, and all those, Francis Ameko, and all these great journalists who were doing magic for TV3. And today, TV3 has become a subject of ridicule. I'm sorry, I have to say. It's become a subject of ridicule in the eyes of the Ghanaian media. And you need to work on it. I'm saying it to your camera. Me, Usman, I'll say it as it is, and let the chief forward with me. Because TV3 was one of the giants in Ghanaian media. CNN, you can compare CNN with Fox News. Even though Fox News support the Republican Party, but they are very circumspect in their reportage in terms of what they bring out. Even though they have their biases, they cannot eschew the ethical standard of journalism. And today, it's you have to tell your management. And I'm sorry that you have a lady who has been trained as one of the professional journalists as your manager, and she sits down and watch this recklessness going on your station. I'm sorry. Thank you.
The last one, nation building.
Nation building.
Take on nation building.
We believe in the directive principles of state policy. If you read the Ghanaian constitution, it speaks about all the tenets of our democracy, how we build nation, and other respect for human rights, fundamental human rights, building development, accelerating of development, and all the things that human being endowed with, or what any human being can get as individuals, to make sure that your rights and freedoms are respected, your rights to fundamental things that you as a human being deserve to have in a society of human beings will be addressed. That's what I believe.
Okay, thank you very much. Last question. Any other question? Any comment or any other question? All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the absence of any question or comment, we will prepare and bring this encounter to a closure. But before then, let me invite Madam Thelma Labi to express our heartfelt appreciation to you. Madam Labi, Thelma, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon to you all. On behalf of the governor, members of the convener, members of the Fixing the Country movement,